What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Married at First Sight, Season 14, Episode 14, It's Just a Blip. So let's start off with Jasmina and Michael. Jasmina and Michael have been making a lot of progress in the second month of marriage. The first month of marriage was practically wasted because they said that they were not even talking to each other that whole entire first month. Now that they have made a breakthrough in their relationship and they're starting to communicate more, getting to know each other better. They're trying to find like a really deep connection with one another because now it's crunch time. They have just a couple of weeks left before decision day, and they need to kind of go through this fast forwarding process of trying to get the relationship to where it needs to be. Michael says that he doesn't think there's really enough time for them to do the work that's needed, but they're going to try their best, I guess. So the heart of this episode was the couples retreat, and all the couples attended, and it was just a weekend retreat in Vermont. So when Jasmine and Michael, for their activity, they were supposed to go see a medium, and the medium hit on a lot of things according to them. I'm not going to be here to judge and say that the medium was fraudulent, fake, it was a scam, information was fed to her. That's how she knew this. I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to be the one to make that judgment call because I have no idea. So the medium evidently, according to Michael and Jasmina, had hit on a couple of things that made it seem like, she was picking up messages from the other side. She did mention Michael's brother and Michael's father, who both passed away. The medium was able to pinpoint that Michael's brother was shot in the chest. And then the medium had said that the brother took a long time to cross over, but he finally made it to the other side. And he comes through, or he communicates to Michael through Michael's dreams. And he's okay. He's doing okay on the other side. His father passed away from prostate cancer, and the medium was able to pick up on that as well, according to Michael and Jasmina. I don't know how valid this is. I don't know if information was given to her beforehand. I have no idea. I can only go by with what I saw in this episode. So then when it came to their relationship, the medium said that they were good for each other, that there was love between them. And if they decided to not make it work, if they decided to go their separate ways, they will eventually find love, but they will always have this regret. And I think she was talking more to Jasmina, that she would always have this regret for not choosing Michael. Even though her life will go on and she'll find love, she'll always have that regret of not choosing Michael. So I was sort of confused on what the medium was saying exactly about their relationship and where the relationship was headed, but I guess she was trying to say that they are good for each other, that they should choose each other, that they do love each other, but they may not realize it yet. And after she was done, giving her predictions, Jasmina and Michael, they just sat there and they looked at each other, like staring at each other deeply into each other's eyes. So I don't know exactly what they were communicating to each other telepathically, but I think they are good for each other. I'm hoping that they do say yes on decision day. But every time that we see Jasmina making progress with her connection to Michael, because even at dinner, when they all had the group dinner, they were talking about, where they were at with their relationship. And Michael had said that he really appreciated Jasmina for looking out for him, for being very protective of him in a way, because before they went to go see the medium, Jasmina was very concerned about what effect the medium would have on Michael, because, the medium was probably going to touch on his brother and other relatives that have passed away. And she wanted to prepare him for the emotions that he was going to be feeling, going through that process with the medium. And so Michael said that when Jasmina was looking out for him in that way, it really meant something to him. And he really did appreciate that. And it showed that she really cared about him. And so when he was relaying this story to the others at dinner, Jasmina started to cry. Like, it really affected her deeply. And so we see these moments where Jasmina is making a breakthrough. Like, you see her. You definitely see them talking more, getting along better, getting closer to each other, even physically closer to each other. Where they'll put their hands on each other, they'll lean on each other or whatever, put their arms around each other. You do definitely see a closer connection. But then at the end of the episode, when they show us the clip of the preview, you see Jasmina all over again talking about, I just don't feel a connection to him, or I just don't feel anything for him, or I just don't feel, like I want to be with him, whatever. And so it's like, okay, girl, so what are we doing? How come it seems like we're taking 10 steps forward, but then when we see the clip for the next episode, we're taking 25 steps back? So I don't know, but it seems like they're headed in the right direction, and I would like to see them say yes on decision day. Noi and Steve they're getting quite annoying. So Steve is still harping on this whole social media thing. Noi is extremely stubborn, and Steve is extremely stubborn, and two very stubborn people. I don't know how great of a match they make, because they both want to be proven right. They both believe that they're right, the other one's wrong, and that's just how it is. So Steve brings up the whole social media thing on the way to Vermont, when they're at Vermont. I think even on the way back from Vermont, he talked about the whole social media thing. She made one post, and she claims that it wasn't about their marriage, it was about something else, but it could apply to their marriage. Okay, she's, to me, she's like backstepping. I feel like it really was about the marriage, but she's lying to protect them, to protect herself. I don't know why she's lying, but to me, the whole point isn't even about that. The whole point to me is, Steve, she only made one post. It's not like she was continuously posting a whole bunch of subliminal messages on her social media. She made this one post, and you are just talking about it to death. You just have to agree to disagree at this point, Steve, because she's not going to admit to you what you want her to. She's not going to say to you, okay, it was about our marriage. I was talking about our marriage, and I will never post anything about our marriage ever again. That is what he wants her to say. She's not going to say that because she's stubborn. It's just easier it's just easier for her to relent than it is for, I don't even know. It's just, if I was Noi, I would just wouldn't even. I don't see why Noi doesn't understand that it's disrespectful to your marriage to talk about your marriage in a public forum. Noi is still about this whole thing about, I can do what I want. It's my platform. I can say whatever I want to say, and nobody can dictate to me what I can and cannot do on my social media, which is, that's also very, very true. But just like freedom of speech, it comes with a consequence. You do have the right to say whatever you want, but if you yell fire in a crowded theater, there's going to be consequences to that. So, are the consequences worth you being able to speak your mind on your social media platform? I don't even think her issue with social media. I don't even think, her anger or whatever she's feeling is really centered around the social media. I think her issue is about him not having a job and him not working. She's still dealing with that. She's still trying to process that. I think this whole social media discussion is just collateral damage to the real issue. So on their way to Vermont, he brings it up. When they're in Vermont, they're having the group dinner with everybody. He brings it up, and he asks her, can we talk about the whole social media thing? And Noi very clearly said, I'd rather not talk about it now. And he says, okay, so you don't want to talk about it now, and I just have to deal with that, but you want to talk about our issues, or you want to make subliminal messages about our marriage on your social media. But you don't care how I feel about it, but you want me to respect your feelings of not wanting to discuss it now, but you don't respect my feelings in posting stuff about our marriage on your social media. And she just didn't really want to talk about it. Now, when Steve was talking about this issue with the guys and the women were outside, Olajuwon said, yeah, it's just not cool for her to do that. She shouldn't be talking about y'all's marriage on her social media. So he got some backup there. He got backup from the experts. And for the life of him, Steve just doesn't understand why she doesn't understand why what she's doing is wrong. Okay. So on their way back from Vermont, he brings it up again. And he's like, well, he really didn't bring up the social media thing, but he was more talking about where are we going to go, or what are we going to do after decision day. And Noi said that, she has her little studio apartment. She's not ready to give it up yet. And he's like, well, if you're not ready to give it up, and that kind of means to me that you still want to live the single life, and you're not really ready for us to be married, or to be married, period. And Noi said, that studio apartment has a lot of sentimental meanings to me, because it was my own place that I had completely all by myself. Before that, I was living with my parents, but when I moved cross country, Noah was chasing some man. When she moved cross country, and this was the first time that she was able to get her own place. And so that studio apartment has a lot of sentimental meaning to her, and she doesn't want to let it go. And also, she said that just in case it doesn't work out, she wants to go back to it. No, you need to make a decision, Noah. Either you're going to be married or you're not going to be married, but you can't have a little bit of both. I think that if Steve was working and making good money, I don't think she would be having this dilemma. But because of the fact that, he's not working and there's no prospect of him getting a 9 to 5 kind of job, or a job where, it's got benefits and he's putting in the hours and all of that, she's going to be kind of wishy-washy about this marriage. I think she sees enough in him to want to stay, obviously, but then this whole job thing is what's making her think twice about it. And also, I think with Noah it was in such a rush to say I love you, waiting for him to say I love you back. That was really monumental for her. And now all of a sudden, she's two-stepping away from the whole entire marriage thing, and it's like she's having second thoughts, and she's not really feeling all of this. Another thing that I want to point out between Noah and Steve is that when they were getting ready to go to bed, he talked about the social media thing. I think he brought that up again, and she had said to him, look, I didn't want to talk about it at dinner because I think that we've said all we could say about it. It's just going to be us just going back and forth endlessly because we're not going to see eye to eye on that. And so he's like, well, okay, but I don't want to go to bed angry. I don't want us to be mad at each other. And so he kind of like forced her to snuggle so that they wouldn't go to bed angry. I was like, well, y'all can snuggle but still be mad at each other. So I really didn't understand the point of that. Moving on to, okay, as far as how I feel about them in Decision Day, I think she should stop the social media stuff, to protect her marriage and to make sure that, she's not doing something to hurt her husband. I think Steve needs to look into a steady stream of income. And I think they can meet in the middle if he has some type of income coming in steadily, consistently, not just now and then or whenever he picks something up, but like a steady stream of income. It might not be what she wants him to do, but it's going to be something, and it needs to be steady. It needs to be consistent. And if they can meet in the middle there, if he's absolutely opposed to getting a regular 9 to 5 job, he's just like, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to sacrifice who I am, by clocking in and clocking out for the man or whatever his issues are with going to work. At least if he has a steady stream of income coming in, whatever he is doing, Nori should be okay with that because money is coming into the household. I think if that can happen, they should definitely try to make it work. But if he can't promise her that, and if he can't guarantee a steady flow of income that's coming in weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or daily, then they probably need to go their separate ways. Moving on to Mark and Lindsay. Mark and Lindsay have a lot of issues. This was this was another bad episode for them. The whole issue with them is, of course, their communication. It's terrible. It's horrible. It started off with what was said. They woke up the next morning and he told her that they were going to do a sound bath. I think it's called a sound bath. And he says to her, you really need it because you're very hyper and you need something to calm you down. Lindsay took severe offense to that. And she told him that, hey, that's not cool what you said. I don't like it. That hurts my feelings. He didn't understand why she took it so bad or so hard. And he was like, well, I was just joking. I was just joking. She was like, you know what? I'm always taking little jabs from you. And I let it slide. I let it slide. I let it slide. But it comes to a point where I can't take it anymore because the things that you say hurt my feelings and I can't take it. And so eventually he did apologize, but he really didn't understand what the big deal was because he was like, I was just joking. I had no ill intent. Well, it doesn't matter what your intent was. The fact that you said something that hurt your wife, you should apologize for that. Plain and simple, just to be able to move on and live peacefully with her. And then they had an issue at game night. So they were all playing a game. It was some type of a question and answer type of game. Oh, who's most likely? That's what it was. Who's most likely? So the questions that asked, like, who's most likely to start an argument? Everybody said Lindsay. Who's most likely to lie about their intimacy with their partner? Once again, it was Lindsay. I think the other question was who's most likely. Now, first of all, let me say this: when they were playing that game, Lindsay was, I think, was already beyond tipsy, and she came in. She had guns blazing. She attacked her husband. She was making fun of him in certain parts of, their relationship. She was poking fun at. She got on Steve's case for some reason because the question was who's most likely to be a stay-at-home parent. I think that was the question. And both Steve and Noy said that they both were likely to be, no. Noy said that she was the most likely to be the stay-at-home parent, and Lindsay said, well, okay, you want to stay at home to take care of the kids, and Steve doesn't have a job, so how are you going to make that work? So she was attacking them and their relationship. She was attacking Mark, making him feel bad because you could tell, like, when she started with the mean jokes, at the same time, earlier in the day, she talked about how the joke he made was mean to her, but then here she is poking fun at him. And, he got really uncomfortable. Everybody could tell. Everybody was reacting to how she was acting. She would make a joke that was really inappropriate or really, really mean to Mark. And the whole entire group would be like, oh, Lindsay, or, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. It was really, really bad. And I think it was because she was drunk. And so at the end of the night, and also Lindsay felt attacked. The questions that made her look bad, like who's most likely to start an argument, who's most likely to lie about their, intimate life, or who's most likely to, whatever the questions were, the questions that made her look bad, that the whole group had a consensus of, she got really defensive. And so I felt like, what, Lindsay's going to get upset that they're all making her look bad with these questions and Mark isn't saying anything or doing anything. Well, of course, later on in the night, they got into an argument, and I'm not even sure what they were arguing about. Mark was trying to have a conversation with Mike. They went down to the basement to talk about it. It wasn't even okay. So when he went to go talk to Mike about it, and he told Mike that she got mad about some kerosene lamps. She got mad that he took her kerosene lamp. And Mike was like, look, Mark, that doesn't seem, what you're saying doesn't make any sense. I don't think she was upset about the kerosene lamp. She must have been upset about something else. And you need to find out what it was. I felt like she was upset about how the fact that everybody was kind of like making her look bad with the game that they were playing. And Mark wasn't coming to her defense, or he wasn't doing anything to like protect her or stand up for her. That's why I think she was upset. But they got into some kind of argument about the kerosene lamps. She got upset. She said she was going to leave, but she didn't. She's always saying that she's going to do something, and she never follows through. Just like when she kept on saying, I'm going to pull back, I'm going to pull back, I'm going to pull all the way back, and she never really did. So he goes upstairs into their bedroom, and she's laying in the bed, fast asleep, and they try to have a conversation. She's drunk, mind you. So whatever she's saying is not making any sense. She said that she was having a conversation with Olajuwon, and something about, I forgot what did she say? It made no sense. She had a conversation with Olajuwon and something about honoring Mark, and she's so busy honoring him that she can't honor herself, or everything revolves around Mark, and I don't know what she was talking about because she was drunk. And so Mark didn't know either. And so he ended up getting up and walking away. He left the room. I don't know where he went. And Lindsay says, after he left, she says, it's going to be really easy for me to say no to him. So the whole thing is this. I think she was just upset that Mark did not come to her defense when, the questions that were answered that made her look bad, he didn't do anything to try to make it nice for her. He didn't protect her, defend her, whatever you want to call it. He didn't do any of that. He just sat there. And I think that really upset her. And also, when they had their argument about the kerosene lamps, Mark did mention that when Lindsay tried to touch his arm, he pulled back again. And, she doesn't like it when he does that. So I don't know what to say about this couple. Oh, yes, I do. They don't need to be together. That's what needs to happen. On decision day, they both need to say no. I don't think there's anything redeemable with this relationship. It's just going to be an endless cycle because I don't think they want to address what the real issues are. I don't want to say, I don't want to diagnose Lindsay. I am in no position to diagnose her, but when she drinks, a lot of issues start there. Their biggest fights, her showing out the most, the biggest conflicts that she's had has been when she's been drunk. And I just don't know if she's ready to not drink in a social setting or whenever she feels like it. And I think also with Mark, he's not sensitive enough. He's just not sensitive enough. When she came to him at some point, I think it was when he told her that she needed the sound bath to calm her down because she's hyper, and she was explaining to him, look, I don't like it when you make those jokes about me. It really hurts my feelings. I thought she was very clear and concise. I had no issue with her telling him exactly how she felt, but he wasn't receiving what she was saying because he kept on telling her, oh, I was just joking. I don't understand why you're getting upset. I was just joking. It doesn't matter that you were joking, that your intent was to make a joke. That does not matter. The fact is that you said something that hurt her feelings. So just apologize for for causing her to feel some type of emotional pain, and then move on. He's just not sensitive enough. And then with her constantly touching him, I don't know why she keeps doing that when she knows that he doesn't like it. I don't know if she does it to antagonize him or what, but I also don't think he should be making that big of a deal about it. Like he doesn't want to be, lovey-dovey with her because he doesn't have those feelings for her, but he wants to get close to her in other ways. It's like, okay, what do you want? Do you want to be physical with her, or you don't want to be physical with her? It's insane. Moving on to Katina and Olajuwon. So Katina and Olajuwon, the biggest thing that I took away from them is that when they went to go see their activity was to go spend time with the alpacas. And Olajuwon talks again about the progress that Katina has made, because at first she was really scared of animals. On their honeymoon, when they went horseback riding, she was very jittery around the horses, but she was a little bit more comfortable around the alpacas. And yeah, it's always about him judging her progress, but it's like, what about your progress? Are you making any progress? So after that, they sit down to have a picnic, and he asks her about her timeline for her future plans. He says, okay, so you want to have kids in 2 years, but you're also graduating in 2 years. So how is that going to work? And she was like, what do you mean how is that going to work? It's going to work beautifully. I can do it. And he was like, well, I just don't see how that's going to be possible because, you're going to be busy being a mom, but then you want to start your career, and I don't see how you can do both at the same time successfully. So you're going to have to rearrange your timeline. You're going to have to readjust your timeline. And so I guess what he's implying is that, she's going to have to push back the children part. And then he tells her that, I took care of all of my stuff early on. I got my school out of the way. I paid my student loans off. I got all my bills out of the way. I took care of all of that early on. He said bills, but I don't know what he meant by that, because bills are never ending. You can't take care of all of your bills unless he means he paid off his mortgage, he paid off his student loans, those big, huge type of financial responsibilities. He already got rid of them. Maybe that's what he meant. So he was like, I did all of that early on so that I can enjoy, my life. I can enjoy my career. I can do this. I can do that. But you're not there yet. So I was kind of like, what is he doing? Why does he feel the need to, instead of judging her and critiquing her, why not work with her? Why not try to come up with a plan with her instead of pointing out what's wrong or what you think is wrong, and then sitting back and asking her, so what are you going to do about that? How are you going to fix it? Y'all are in a partnership. Y'all are in a marriage. You need to kind of, figure out how y'all can get through this together. I don't see anything wrong with her wanting to have children and starting her career after she graduates from college. I see nothing wrong with that. And then he said something about, you were a party girl for the first 5 years. You were busy partying and I was busy taking care of business. Absolutely annoying. I don't know what to say about Olajuwon. I just don't know. And I don't understand why she is accepting this. But anyways, when they had their dinner or breakfast or whatever it was, because at some point Lindsay ended up going to the emergency room. She woke up, I think it was her last day there. She had to go to the emergency room. She wasn't feeling well, so Mark took her to the emergency room. So when they had their last breakfast, it was just the rest of the couples. So Olajuwon was talking about how, Katina is the one that's holding this relationship together. Katina is the one that's really putting in the work, and I really do appreciate her for all of this. And okay, so like what? So I don't. It's so hard for me to figure out exactly how Olajuwon feels about her, because as soon as I've decided that okay, he really doesn't love her, he really doesn't want to have a future with her. He's just way too critical of her. He comes back with, she's like the love of my life. Katina's the love of my life, and she's holding it down, and I really do appreciate her. I don't know if it's like in a group setting, he feels like he has to make it look like he really appreciates her. But then when they're just one on one together, that's when he's very critical of her. Maybe that's what's going on here. I don't know. I have no idea. This one here, this couple, Olajuwon and Katina, they throw me for a loop completely. I don't know if they're coming or going. I don't know if they like each other or they don't like each other. I have no idea what's going on with this couple, because it's always hot and cold, mixed signals. One day y'all are getting along great. The next day y'all are having huge arguments over nothing. I have no idea what's going on with this couple, so I don't know what to say. I'm leaning towards them saying no to each other on decision day, but we'll see what happens. If you made it this far in my review, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining me. On your way out, please don't forget to rate, and please don't forget to subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.